It's been a 6-month journey, I think, now. Like, I've just come into my off-season now, and I think I count as, like, a total of 5.5 or 6 months of prepping. The biggest lesson is that if you're not mentally strong enough for it, that you ain't getting you ain't getting to the end goal.
You can't just become mentally strong through challenge. You have to be mentally strong first. Or
you have to be able to, when you hit around a 4-week mark, you have to realize that it's no longer testing your physical strength, because you ain't got none left. Like
that would bother me, and regardless of prep, that would bother me just generally, knowing that I'd have to put that aside.
Yeah, so
and not think about it.
So 4 weeks then you lose.
Around 4 weeks out, I'd say, like, it becomes like the most mentally challenging part. Everyone has like a roughly different like period of when they hit that kind of like challenge, but for me it's around 4 weeks out. And if you're able to shift your mindset from like trying to outlift your PBs and do all the physical side to more mental, just kind of like ticking boxes in a way. It's like, I need to get my morning cardio done, I need to do this, do that, and like that certain mind techniques that you can do to make the journey easier for yourself. So yeah, it's just that realization of like, it's not just physical, it's way beyond physical.
Yeah, I think this is the sort of area where bodybuilding and life, like general life, are quite cross transferable. So, like you said about just ticking boxes, I think that's what goes on in life as well that you need to take from this. So I think if you could apply that lesson to life, then it obviously sets you up for success.
But it depends what sort of person you are.
Acquiring that discipline, because obviously you said it was just going and going.
But it depends, because for some people that's going to be nearly impossible. For me now, I'm not sure what's
impossible, or is that a self-set limitation that you
what I'm trying to say is, I think because you're saying you're ticking boxes, and Reese is like this as well. He's very regimented. Get up to your cardio at 4:30, 5 a.m. and then do this and then do the pose in. And he's got everything like a checklist every day. Literally, they put it on their story. This is my checklist. This is what I've done so far. It's very regimented, very routine. And some people thrive in that sort of schedule. Like, they like the fact that they've just got to go through
Once you get in a routine, I feel like everyone would thrive in that sort of schedule. It's like, you just can't think about it too much, because the moment you start thinking, it's like you've already like kind of lost it. You just have to do it without thinking.
It's just to be just a tournament.
But is that must help having a coach then? I assume you had a coach.
I have a couple that coach me. Yeah. And they're honestly amazing. They've become my family.
Yeah. So all you have to do is just do what they tell you.
In a way, yeah.
There's a lot of trust involved there. Obviously,
is.
you obviously financially pay them, but obviously there's a lot of trust.
Yeah, they don't care about you; they just want your money.
No, but what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of trust in the coach there, because they are sort of guiding you from this. Like, it's like you're on a ship and you're in like unclear waters, and then they're captaining your ship. And they just have to take you through like this whole journey of prep. Such an artistic way of describing it.
I didn't realise how lucky I was with my coaches up until I started hearing horrible stories of other people who are on prep and their experiences with their coaches and the sort of things they made them do. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I knew my coaches were good, but I was so lucky to find them first time, because there's so many experiences that I've heard of like females being put on some sort of fat burners that like make them lose themselves, and I'm just like, what on earth are going through these coaches' heads of like putting like females on these sort of like things?
Yeah, so their health wasn't a priority then.
No,
it was just
it was all about the end goal, and I was just like, what are you doing? You're ruining yourself.
Was the end goal then that was really driving you, like sort of winning and being the sort of top of your class, or was it more the accomplishment of the whole journey that was driving you? Or
winning?
Yeah, you weren't like, right, going up on the stage thinking, I'm here, this is where.
I didn't do my visualization thinking, I'm grateful for the journey. I did my visualizations thinking, my name's being called out as a winner. Like, you don't visualize like the event of going like, oh yeah, I got a participation medal. Like, nobody does that.
I got the opportunity to take part. Like, fuck off. I won.
A lot of people there's like, I've spoke to people before, and a lot of people get just motivated by the fact that they get to go to the competition. Do you know, like, if you qualify for something, they're like, right, I've been chosen, and I get really motivated the fact that I get to go here, instead of, I really want to win, and then they win anyway. It's like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Do you see a lot of that?
Yeah. I think it depends on what level we're talking about, because if it's a qualifier, if you're not winning a qualifier and you're not making it past like the top 3 in a qualifier, like you ain't got no chances at the nationals, the worlds, or the universe. Like that's like the base you need to kind of get past. And then I think when you get into like an invite to the nationals, I think that's where you're talking about like I'm grateful for the opportunity, because that is crazy. Like you are being against the best in the country. Like that is something to be grateful for. And then when you place in like a certain placing in the nationals and you get an invite to the worlds, you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you are grateful.
You probably forget, because you're going through the different steps, you probably forget that looking back to step 1, like how far you've actually come. Do you feel that sometimes? You're just looking forward, you're not actually realising, shit, I've passed these checkpoints that a lot of people haven't been able to even get to.
Yeah.
Do you know what's crazy is that I've known Eva for a couple of years, not like well, but we went to university together. And
you were only there 5 minutes. Don't try and act like you were like you're an academic or anything.
Like the last time I saw you was before you'd even done any bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And you know, it's crazy to think how far you've come from between just like being a casual sort of gym goer to now we've obviously met you and done this podcast again, and you're now Welsh champion, 6th in Britain. So like the progression in such a short space of time is really motivating. And I think you've got to sort of look back at that sometimes and just think, 6 months ago, we were nothing. Now I'm a seasoned competitor already.
Yeah.
I've competed in this. I've done that. I'm Kim 6th in Britain.
Yeah, you'll soon be a graduate.
Yeah, and you've obviously got plans now for an off season and maybe a long off season.
Yeah,
competing next year.
I think I didn't like when I was coming to nationals. I didn't realise that the Worlds was like 4 or 5 weeks after. And when I was told that, I was like, oh my God. And then I did actually get selected to represent Team GB in the Worlds, but I struggled so much like with the nationals prep, and when I competed in the nationals, I realised that looking back at the photos from being on stage, that my body type and my genetics aren't meant for bikini. Yeah. So I was in the wrong category. So I was like, I'm not gonna burn myself out for another 5 weeks of brain fog where I've got my dissertation deadlines coming up.
Wow.
So I was like, it's not worth the sacrifice for me at this point anymore for a category that I don't want to go any further.
Yeah,
anyways.
You know that next season you're not gonna